I'm here at the Chelmsford Common in October of 2018 with three of my friends who have a petition today. What's your petition? Could I have your names, please?
Laura McCloud.
Laura McCloud.
Yep.
Steve Agostino.
Steve Agostino.
And Melanie Agostino.
Melanie Agostino. You two related?
We're married.
We're married. Nice.
Happily.
Nice. And you all live in Chelmsford,
I live in
right?
Chelmsford.
So you're here on the Chelmsford Common today. You had planned this to be here today because you have a petition that you're asking people to sign, right?
Yep.
And you're also going to get signatures in the next few weeks. But
Yep.
could you tell us what the petition is for?
The petition is to.
So the petition is to, we hold a legal permit to have our chickens. And now the town is telling us that we need to get rid of our chickens because we don't meet the 40,000 square feet requirement in the antiquated bylaws that are in place. So what we're doing is we are gathering signatures to try and have this 40,000 square foot requirement reduced to 15,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet, something that will allow us and others who probably have backyard chickens to be able to keep them and enjoy them. And not, have to just get rid of them as if they were just consumables that have expired and now we need to get rid of them.
Yes.
They're pets. And they mean a lot to us, and we can't just sit back and be told that, okay, here's your permit last year, and once our permit expires this year, we have to get rid of them. It's just not right.
Yes. So the petition, you're trying to get a warrant article on it was going to be the springtime meeting, but now it's going to be the fall town meeting, right? Because something happened.
It'll be in the spring
We're
town
hoping
meeting.
in the spring 2019 town
Article
meeting
17.
to get the reduced to like 15,000 square feet or 10,000 or 20, whatever it turns out to be. So that there's about 20 families that we know of that have chickens but don't have the 40,000 square feet right here in Chelmsford.
Correct.
So hopefully it'll be on the Springtown meeting. And it might also talk about some requirements about all the food might need to be in cans and, and it has to be taken care of properly, that kind of thing, right?
Absolutely.
So they're going to work on the warrant. Are they being the planning board, I guess?
Planning board.
And maybe the Board of Health will
Board
be
of
involved?
And also the building department as it's zoning.
Oh, the building department? Yeah,
Zoning,
great.
Yeah, they all need to
So-
come together.
Nice. So there's this very important issue. And Melanie, I think you were saying that there's support animals too for a lot of people, right?
Yes, they are support
Did you say your
animals for a lot of
doctor
people.
confirmed that?
My doctor confirmed that they're emotional support animals.
Did he give you a letter too?
I
or
do
something?
have a letter stating
letter?
that.
So that's another reason we should have them confirmed. But they also bring in healthy food to everybody, right? Organic eggs.
Organic eggs,
They're
yes.
companion animals. The children and the adults love being with the chickens, right? That I know of.
They're not farm chickens. They're family pets.
Family pets,
is what
yeah.
they become.
So hopefully we could get this changed. The town could get this bylaw changed to something more reasonable, right? Because not everybody has 40,000 square feet here in Chelmsford.
Most people don't.
Most people don't.
Right,
So
right.
that'd be wonderful.
They think by changing the bylaw it would give about 80% of Chelmsford. They would have about 80% of Chelmsford would be able to have chickens.
If they change the
If they change
bylaw
the
to the
bylaws.
lower 15,000 or whatever square feet.
Right.
Wonderful. So, well, is there anything else you'd like to say before you leave? You're trying to get about 200
Yeah.
signatures
We'd
minimum,
like
right?
200, we would like
The
at
more
least
the better.
200. The
More the better. And then you're going to submit them to,
We submit them to the town hall,
Yeah.
and then they go on to the spring town meeting, and
Okay.
then anybody that wants to support it could come to that meeting. We
Right.
have petitions at Agway in Chelmsford. Jones Farm has petitions.
great.
Rosie's
So
Diner in North Chelmsford.
Agway, Rosie's, Jones Farm
Farm.
have petitions that people could go in and sign.
Yes.
Yep.
Great.
As long as you're a registered voter in Chelmsford.
Need to be a registered
Right.
voter, of course, so
Yeah.
that'd be good.
And
Wonderful.
the more we could get, the better.
Better.
If we could get 1,000, that would be great. The more, the more
And
you
me-
bring.
Yes, and at the town meeting in the spring, it's important that there's a lot of people showing support at the meeting.
That's right.
And speaking up. You don't have to be a town meeting representative
No.
to speak at the town meeting,
If
right?
you
So,
own chickens,
And if you can't show up, then you can always submit a letter.
yes, yeah, and that's important too, to do that. To the Board of Health, I would, and to the Planning Board.
To the planning
Maybe
board,
the
yes.
Well, the Board of Selectmen aren't too involved in this
No.
issue, but you could send it to them anyway. Copy. Make sure this gets on the warrant
Send
article.
it to
That's
everybody.
right.
Yeah, it's not everybody.
That's
Yes.
right.
Anybody and everybody.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say before we go about this issue or Chelmsford?
Sign our petition.
Sign our petition.
Yeah.
Now is march up to the end there, and we'll give a demonstration of how the muskets fire. And it will be loud. Company, to the front. Step. Gentle wheel. Who's calling cadence? Alan? Left. Left. Right. Left. Left. And a gentle wheel. Left. Right. Left. 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 Right. Left. Company, prepare the right wheel. Make it tight. Right wheel. Front. Halt. Right about face. Forward. Move. Halt. All right, we're going to this angle this way. And right about face. So what we're going to do is show you how we would fire these muskets. And I'll walk through what the firing technique is, how they work, and then we'll demonstrate what they actually do. These are called flintlock muskets. They're called flintlocks because this is the lock, this is the stock, this is the barrel. You've ever heard lock, stock, and barrel, that means you have a complete musket. It's called a flintlock because it uses a piece of flint right here. It's a piece of rock. Our lives depended on a piece of rock. Now you scouts know that if you take flint and you put it on steel, what happens? A spark. Right. So if I was going to fire, okay, this is a very important part too. You have to use your imagination. If I use my pen, there's a hole at the bottom of the barrel. Feel free to spread out and demonstrate also. There's a hole at the bottom of the barrel. That's called the touch hole. I want you to keep that in mind. That's a very important thing. This is the pan, and it's called a pan because that's where stuff goes into and it gets held. So if we were going to fire, I would take a preload rolled cartridge, and typically if I was firing a live ball, there'd be a musket ball on the bottom. I'd rip it open. Oh, that's important. All Minutemen had to have at least two teeth opposite each other. Because if you didn't have two teeth, then you couldn't rip it open. So if we were going to fire, which we're not going to just this moment, I would take that, I would have ripped it open, I'd pour some of that powder in the pan. And again, I'm not going to do that now, we'll be doing that shortly. Just a little bit of powder, then I'd close it. This is called the frizzen. How many people know why it's called the frizzen? No? No, he said no, he changed his mind. Well, I'm hoping some year someone knows the answer because I don't know why it's called the frizzen. It's the place where the spark happens. So now that I've closed the pan, I've got powder in there. If I flip it upside down, the powder stays where it is. So that's an important aspect. Then the next step would be we'd take it down. We'd take the cartridge that we just had. We'd pour the rest of it down the barrel, along with the paper and the musket ball. We'd have to ram it down. If we didn't ram it nice and tight, then there's a chance that the barrel could explode. And if the barrel explodes, where would explode? It would explode at this face, and this face is much too pretty to have a barrel explode on it. Shake your heads, yes. Okay, good. Very good. So now, and we would have to make sure we put the ramrod back. There's some companies where they may just put the ramrod in the ground. Well, that's a very important thing, but then when you're ordered to advance, you don't have a ramrod, and all you have is a fancy stick. Because without a ramrod, you do not fire it because it will explode in your face. We already talked about the faces. And right back. So now I'm ready to fire. So if I pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen. And the reason nothing's going to happen is because I'm only at half cock and it's a safety measure. So I could do that all day long and it won't fire. Unless I go like this too hard and it does fire when it's at half cock. That's called going off half cock. You're ready for a big show, but you really weren't ready at that moment. Okay? So then the captain would say, or the sergeant would say, make ready. Then we go back to a full cock, and you could all hear that. And then we would fire. Now, we take aim and we fire. We talked about spark. We're all going to demonstrate what it looks like. You'll see the spark from the flint hitting the steel. All right? Everybody spark it. You see the spark? So the spark from the frizzen goes down into the pan. It makes the powder in the pan go off, and the hot gases from the pan go through that little touch hole and make the barrel go off. You know what happens then? Boom! And that's how a musket works. Okay, anybody want to do a spark? Who wants to make a spark? If you want to make a spark, you got to yell boom. Okay? You yell boom? Okay. Pull that hard.
A little bit of residue on that.
Pull it, come on, go back. Boom.
Anyone else?
Real delayed.
Really hard.
Want to make a spark?
It's not going to go boom. There you go. Yeah, you did it. That's right. Very good. My own daughter has probably never done this before.
All right, anybody want to hear what it really sounds like?
Yeah. Here we go.
Let's go. Company, reassemble. All right, we're going to do a prime and load, which means we do what we talked about. We put it in the pan, and then we load it. And then we'll go back to shoulder. Company, prime and load. A well-ordered and well-regulated Minuteman and Redcoat can load and fire 3 times in 1 minute while they're being fired upon. Ready? Company, make ready. Aim. Fire! That's a boom. Did anybody not go off?
Okay. So we're here at the Garrison House Association with
I'm Penny Lacroix,
Penny Lacroix and
and my husband Dan Lacroix.
Dan Lacroix. Penny and Dan Lacroix. Nice. And so, Penny, what are you doing here today? Or
So I have a dye bath going, and I have some madder root. It's M-A-D-D-E-R,
yeah.
which grows really well in New England. And I've got like a gigantic tea bag full of madder root here.
Oh.
And it's been steeping. I actually put it into cold water earlier in the week,
Oh.
but now I'm heating it up a little bit for about an hour. So it's just about ready to take the tea bags out and put the cloth in. I'm going to be dyeing some linen cloth to make into some clothing. And one of the things that I'm doing is using both an iron pot and a copper pot.
Yeah.
And the the metals will leach out of the pots and will make the color slightly different with the on the two different fabrics. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to turn out.
And when was this process used approximately? What years do you think? It's hard to
I
say.
think madder's been used for a very long time.
Very long time.
I can't tell you specific years. I know it was used in colonial times.
Yes, wonderful.
It's what they used to dye the soldiers' coats, the red coats.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the British used it. Often you'll see that theirs turn a little bit orange, and that comes from the pH of the water.
Yes.
So what I've tried to do here, I've altered the pH of the water a little by adding some soda ash, and I'm hoping that it comes out more on the blue end rather than the orange.
I see. Yes, wonderful.
Because I don't want to look like a red coat out there.
Right, no, we wouldn't want that. Well, thank you very much for demonstrating this to us. So these look like actual very old pots. Are they? Do you know?
Right, this is one that belongs here at the house.
At the Garrison House,
yep,
yeah.
and they let me use it when I come and do
Oh.
dye pots here.
And it must have,
then this is a copper one that I picked up at an antique shop, and I only use it for dyeing. I don't put any food in it. That's kind of a good practice.
Yes, well, thank you very much. And this is at our Colonial Craft Day, right? Just to let people know on the video know. At the end of September every year, we do this.
Yep.
And we're taping this in September 30th, 2018, right?
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for demonstrating that for us.
You're welcome.
I'm here with George Ripsom at the Garrison House Association's Colonial Craft Day, and this is the end of September of 2018. And George, could you tell us a little bit about the Garrison House Association here in Chelmsford?
The association was initiated when we were given this property back in 1959 in November. We're almost 55 years now, but
wow, 1959.
yes.
Well,
And during that time, at that time, we were given the Garrison House, the barn, and the craft house. And we subsequently acquired all around town another 6 buildings that all of colonial origin, and our latest, however, is the summer kitchen, which is only a 1900 house, but it was over on Bartlett Street.
yeah.
And like all of these other buildings, they have been brought here for safekeeping. The Garrison, by the way, the Garrison property here at Garrison Road was originally part of 500 acres given to the original colonials, one of the items, of course, and they were here in 1655 to establish the town of Chelmsford.
Yes.
We, of course, as the association, were established and and registered with the Commonwealth in 1960. Took a little while to get the papers all in order, but since that time, we have enlarged the property and have maintained it and will continue to do so. One of the things that, of course, is necessary to do that is funding, and so obviously we would be welcoming anyone who has the opportunity to come and join the organization or would be able to contribute in putting on something like this Colonial Craft Day. This, by the way, is our 40th year that we've had Colonial Craft Day the last weekend of September.
Wow.
And it's just really wonderful. At the moment, we are crawling with people, and it's always something that children enjoy, and we are showing various crafts. All of these crafters are volunteers who come out and show their work and invite anyone to come and join them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And the website is probably Garrison House Association, right? If somebody Googles that, they could probably find our website. and find out how to get in touch with everybody and donate or join the organization?
They can find out about the organization and make their decision at a time subsequent.
Good. Well, George, thank you very much for, you could stay there for a second, George, but thank you very much for all that you do for the organization. You're the treasurer, and you do a great job every year. Last year, you had a great return for the organization.
Yes.
Much better than my return, personally. So you did a great job. And did we mention the Garrison House is right in back of you in this video?
Yes.
The original Garrison House here. So it's a wonderful thing. Thank you very much, George, for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to have you with us.
We're going to go from shoulder, and I'm going to say, commence firing. And then we're going to do it 3 times the quickest. So it'll be kind of scattered. Maybe a little ragged. And maybe I'll be fastest. Maybe not. Company, commence firing. Dogs barking, alarms going off, kids crying. It's a good day. That's 3. I've got backup. That's 2.5. And back to shoulder when you're done. Now what you saw is a misfire. To make sure that it's clear and safe, it was dumped. The powder was dumped because we're just going to go back to formation. So that makes it safe. All right, company, prepare to search arms. Cast about. Down. This is another safety routine. We're dumping it to make sure there's no powder left because maybe mine really didn't go off and I don't know it. Return to shoulder. And prepare to spring rammers again once more. Cast about again, prepare to spring rammers. So in this case, we'll do it one more time just to make sure that they really did all go off. You hear that ping? That's what I'm going to get from everybody, sir. Yep. All right, prepare to return. Rammers. Return. Shoulder. Gentlemen, thank you for your assistance. On the right about face, you are dismissed to mingle with the crowd. Right about face. There we go. Now who wants to be a Minuteman?
I'm at the Chelmsford Historical Society's Farm Fair. This is our 17th annual Farm Fair, and we're in September of 2018. And as you can see here in front of me, we have a member of the Chelmsford Board of Selectmen, Pat Wojtas, past chairman of the Board of Selectmen. So Pat, you come to the Farm Fair every year?
I try to make it every year. You said it's 17th annual. I don't know if I've made all 17, but I bet I've probably made 15 of them. So
yeah,
it's always a good event to come to. Yeah.
You do, because your family's been in town for over 100 years or something,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So you know a lot about the history of Chelmsford, that's for sure.
Well, I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember before Route 129 was all developed with these office
absolutely.
buildings,
I
and
definitely
like I
remember
do,
that,
you
yeah.
know. Well, I'm so glad you came again this year, Pat. That's very nice of you. And so how do you like the Farm Fair, by the way? You have a good time here? We have a good turnout this year, right?
Very good turnout. Yeah, I think it's one of the best that I've seen. So, quite frankly, so yeah, I mean, it's good. It must be, due to all your efforts, Tom.
Oh, we've been doing a lot of advertising, yes, but I was at your selectman meeting on Monday.
Yep.
That was interesting. It was
was.
jam-packed with people that night.
Yeah.
They were even out in the hallway.
Yeah, we had a couple controversial issues we were talking about. So yeah, it was an interesting meeting for
It was
sure.
kind of like, it must be exciting for selectmen to be in a meeting like that, you know?
It is. Sometimes it goes on a little too long on some issues,
Yeah.
but that's what we're there for, is to listen to what the residents have to say and try to resolve their problems.
Yeah. And Pat, you've been a selectman for what, about 9.5 years now, right?
Something like that. Yep.
It's great. And you're up again next year, but we won't talk about that now, about
Yeah.
if you're running or not.
Yeah, it's a little too early for that.
Yeah. But one thing maybe if you have a chance we could talk about is an issue that came up on Monday, which is why a lot of people were there, which was that dispatcher issue.
Right, the
Some
regional,
people
yeah.
wanted to go regionalization, some people wanted to keep it here in Chelmsford.
Right.
So it ended up staying here in Chelmsford for now, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it
With
was a 3-2 vote.
3-2 vote, yeah.
And I voted to join the regional dispatch center. I think it makes sense to do that. We'd have better technology, we'd have more resources, and I think something that happened recently is kind of a good example of how it really would have helped to have a regional center, and that being the gas explosions in Lawrence. That community absolutely needed so much assistance. And to be able to call just 1 or 2 or 3 regional centers to get additional equipment coming in, I think would be a lot easier than having to contact, 20 or 30 or whatever individual municipalities. So I think that kind of, showed a little bit more how important it is to have the communication and to have, more people that know what's going on. And to be able to provide the assistance when it's needed in a mass casualty event, basically, like that was.
Yes, that was very sad, right?
It was.
That company that apparently was responsible, oh my God. It looks like a private company, over-pressurized. They had like 200 pounds of pressure and normally should have been about 70. I was talking to one of the firefighters the other day. I don't know, but hopefully it'll all get straightened out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get back into their homes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's going to be a while, though. Some of them, it's going to be months before they're able to get back in.
If that happened to me, I thought about it. My home went and everything, that all my pictures and my poor cats hopefully would be okay. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But I would be devastated if I lost my home.
Right.
I've been there 41 years, the same house.
Wow, yeah. Very good.
So your brother Charlie is on vacation now, right? I guess we won't talk about where he is or whatever, but
he's gone.
Got a
for
nice vacation.
For a couple of weeks, yeah.
So we have Henry Parley filling in, doing this year with the nice hay rides, which is great.
Yep.
And we thank everybody, by the way, who came and helped out this year. Everybody who attended, like you, Pat. It looks like we're having a great farm fair. We're going to raise a lot of funds for the Historical Society and for many charities with all of the barbecues and everything. It's all for charity, mostly.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, Pat. Anything else you'd like to say before we go?
I think that's about it
That's
for
about
now. So thanks a lot for stopping by and chatting. And it's always good.
Thank you, Pat. Thanks for being here. Pat Wojtas, thank you.
All right. So this is the summer kitchen for the Garrison House. So the whole purpose of this building was to keep their house nice and cool while cooking their food. So they would come out here, cook their food out here. That way the house would be nice and cool during those hot 100-degree days. Now, as you can see, we're cooking popcorn over the fire. Fortunately, that's an illusion. They didn't really have popcorn back in the 1600s because it came from Mexico. But this would be a snack later in history for the Americans, and it's one of the oldest snacks that we have to date.
Oh, popcorn rolls.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, what's your name, please?
My name is Chris Taverna.
Chris, you're Deb's son?
I am.
Oh, Deb Taverna. She's the president of the organization, right?
Yes, she
the
is.
Garrison House Society. Good friend of mine.
Excellent.
And you're very active with the group as well, aren't you?
That's my father. Yeah.
You who?
Deb's husband.
Oh, really? Oh, no wonder I see you here all the time. At our annual dinners and everything. Oh, great. Well, thank you very much for doing this. So anything else you'd like to say before we go on the video?
Have fun, guys, and enjoy your popcorn.
Okay, yeah.
I think there's a popcorn there with your name on it.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.